today by Cath Dyer, Secretary of the Swansea FC Disabled Supporters Association, and by our very own Keith Milward. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, so first of all, we're going to be talking about on this day, but first we're going to have a quick chat about how the Swans did yesterday, because you're attached, aren't you, to the Swans, Cath? Can you just quickly tell us how you're attached to the Swans, and then we'll have a little chat about what happened yesterday.
I've been a trust member on the committee for 6 years. I've been elected on this year now for the next 2 years, and I'm also the trust rep on the DSA, the Disabled Supporters Association. Been a supporter for 32 years.
32 years? So how does all that work, your place on the trust and everything?
For the trust for the last couple of years, I've done the Welsh media, the English media. I help with the awards night at the end of season. And the DSA we set up 4 years ago, and I've got 2 disabled children, so I wanted to get involved in that as well.
Very important, so everybody can enjoy the game.
Yes, yeah.
But did you enjoy it yesterday?
It was disappointing. It was very disappointing.
Take a little bit look, because we've got some words from the head coach to see what he thought of yesterday's game.
Really good spell in that second half before Newcastle managed to get them. There was a few chances, then eventually got the goal. How did you assess the game as a whole?
I'm not very happy with the performance. Although the margin of the defeat was small, it was decided by a set play in the end. I just think overall our performance was not at the level I expect. The reason for that I'm not quite sure at the moment, because I felt very positive going into the game. With the team selection, with the training week that we had, all our preparation was very good. I sensed a good atmosphere around the supporters and also, most importantly, the team. But then there's the reality of going out onto the pitch and delivering what the plan.
The thing is, it's not just, dare I say it, losing a game, is it? What are the ramifications? There's all sorts of stuff with points and all the rest of it. What?
There is, and yesterday, obviously, we've had some new players in through the transfer window, so there was a lot of hype around the game. The atmosphere was electric before it started. So, I mean, it was disappointing. I mean, obviously, we've got 4 points from 4 games. I mean, you know, it's onward and upwards. The new players in, they've got to adapt.
The league, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And I was going to say, perhaps once they've settled.
Once they've settled,
you know,
yes.
Just warm it up and it'll get a little bit better from there on in. Fingers crossed.
We will.
But also on this day, a great story. In 1915 was the opening of Britain's first women's institute at, and I'm coming back to you, Cath, because you're the only one here, well, I don't know, we didn't ask Keith, that can say it. Llanfairpwll.
Llanfairpwll Gwngell, Goger Chwynlobwyll, Llandysilio, go.
Very good.
Harmony.
Oh, yes.
My mother was always very proud that she was a Londoner and she could say it and the rest of us. But anyway.
So the WI movement had begun in Canada in 1897 for the wives of the members of the Farmers Institute, and in the UK it was originally set up to revitalise rural communities and to encourage women to become more involved in producing food during the First World War.
A wonderful group. My mum used to belong to the WI, and they were particularly good when she became ill. But it was a lifeline for my mum, because there were times when my dad was ill, and yet they're a great group of ladies, and it's not all jam in Jerusalem. It really is, you know, great fun. They have so much fun together.
Well, they did have a lot of fun, and they forged such great friendships, didn't they?
Yes, still have.
It's still going.
As well, isn't
Yes.
it? People
I think young wives would learn how to cook and everything through them, wouldn't they? Because they'd be sort of nervous and...
I think some of us older people could learn a lot. But we were talking about Llandrindod-Wells, where you spent, was it 13 years? And community is so important in rural areas, isn't it? And something like the WI helps to forge people together.
I mean, there are WIs, but I mean, we were fortunate. We moved up there. I had one little one and I was pregnant. But of course, like you say, in a community, you get to know people quicker. You've got local schools, local activities, the local church, which, you know, we formed lots of great friendships through. And I mean, we'd spend summer holidays going from one person's house to another and it was a good community spirit.
Now, also on this day, 16 years ago, very, very sort of sad story now. It was, of course, 9/11. And I think everybody can remember where they were on that day. Definitely. And it was the terrorist attack. Where it was, when I know that when I first saw it on the television, I thought I was watching some sort of film or sort of make-believe, and I think a lot of people thought that. We have got some stills of the skyline.
it was the day when everything changed, really, wasn't it?
Yes.
We've got some very close Muslim friends, and I can remember him saying, you just don't feel happy in your skin anymore, he said a few weeks after.
Absolute devastation.
You know,
I remember I was in Pontarddulais school and going into the school office and the secretary saying something awful has happened in New York. And I didn't imagine the scale. And then, of course, we were all watching by the time the second tower was affected.
Everyone across the spectrum, didn't it?
Well, it has had major effect on people's health. My cousin's husband, after it, was quite traumatised and needed counselling, and that's just from seeing it on the television and realising how the world had changed.
It's one of those things like we were talking about Lady Diana, the other Princess Diana the other day, and of course if you're old enough, JFK, you know exactly where you were, you know the moment, you know, it's imprinted in your brain, isn't it? I can remember I was picking the kids up from school and I had never heard of the Twin Towers, of course, but it just becomes imprinted. But in a sense, that there was the physical devastation of the traumatic loss of life, but also that was the day the world changed.
It really did.
In many ways.
It did, and almost 3,000 people were killed on that day, which is a huge, huge amount. And of course it did end up, of course that's when the war in Afghanistan started. And I don't think, I had a phone call and somebody said, have you seen the news? Have you seen the news? You know, so I switched it on and caught the second tower and the devastation there. And I don't think I realised then, because I was quite young, the ramifications it would have on the world from that one day. But it was just...
Didn't seem real either.
It was scary.
Very scary.
Very, very scary. And I mean, if we're scared in South Wales, I mean, how must it have been?
Yes, it rocked the States, didn't it? Rocked the
absolutely. Yes. But also, moving on, we've got 1921, silent film star Fatty Arbuckles. Now, he was
just the name, Fatty Arbuckles.
Yeah, Fatty Arbuckles. Well, Fatty Arbuckles, I know, was a chain of burger restaurants as well later on. But Fatty Arbuckle himself died at 46 of a heart attack. So I find that quite ironic. Yes. But he was a star of silent movies. We can see on the TV now, before people could hear us. That early comedy. So we've all tried to do that, haven't we? Carry too many things. I think there was a huge talent for acting in silent movies, because it is just all acting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, look at that.
And expression and body movement.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
And there's a series at the moment with talking pictures of Lauren Hardy, you know, even this afternoon. Yeah. So, but it's great to still celebrate and remember these tremendous
life-enhancing people, really.
Yes.
We all need a bit of that.
Yes, yeah. I don't know how I'd manage in a silent movie, because I think I just want to speak all the time, you know. It would be difficult, wouldn't it, to keep everything quiet. Now, another film in 1987, but I think as well something that was sort of quite groundbreaking at the time, was the premiere of Fatal Attraction. So with Glenn Close and Michael Douglas. We have got a little clip of that. Should we have a little look? Yes. I think it's one of the nicer clips of the film.
I don't know what you're up to, but I'm gonna tell you it's gonna stop right now.
No, it's not gonna stop. It's gonna go on and on until you face up to your responsibilities.
What responsibilities?
I'm pregnant. I'm gonna have our child.
Alex, that's your choice, honey. That has nothing to do with me.
I just want to be a part of your life.
Oh, this is the way you do it, huh? Showing up at my apartment?
Well, what am I supposed to do? You won't answer my calls. You change your number. I mean, I'm not gonna be ignored, Dan.
They look so young, but I suppose it was half a lifetime ago.
Quite a chilling storyline, and I think it sort of perhaps reminded people that it wasn't always fun and games to have those extracurricular activities.
Tension, so much tension, I remember.
Very clever acting.
And directing. Some very frightening scenes.
And also on this day, in 1773, Benjamin Franklin wrote, "There was never a good war or bad peace," and I thought, seeing as it was the anniversary of 9/11 as well, that it was, you know, quite apt.
A very pithy comment, isn't it? Yes. Somebody was talking about nuclear proliferation the other day and saying that perhaps it was a way of preventing war. And of course, anybody who's actually lived through a war knows you never want another war. So, Yeah, it's a very, very good comment, that, isn't it?
Say it again.
Oops. I don't think we've got time. We'll talk about it in
I'll
the
have to tell you
break,
in the
I
break.
think.
Yes,
Thank you
please.
both for
See
coming.
you after the
and
break.
We'll be looking at the papers after the break, so we shall see you then. still with Cath Dyer, Secretary of the Swansea FC Disabled Supporters Association, and our very own showbiz gossip editor, Keith Milward.
But I think we're beginning by taking a look at the papers, Rachel.
We are. So we're looking at it's in the papers today. Now, in the Evening Post, we've got some lovely pictures of this weekend's proms in the park. So you can see there, I mean, it wasn't great weather, but look at them all with their umbrellas. It didn't dampen their enthusiasm at all. Yep. And I think, wow, it was so
it's great how people can enjoy themselves in this awful weather.
Paris, of course.
Yes, I think if you set out to enjoy yourself, you go to anywhere else.
And Rod Gilbert did a surprise performance there as well, because he's a big fan of the proms. And later on he put a help out on Twitter because of the weather. His van was stuck in the mud. So hopefully somebody went to his rescue. He's not staying.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, so also in the papers, that was on the weekend, and also Tenby's Ironman as well. So they were very brave to do the Ironman anyway, and then of course to do it in the weather.
In that awful weather. And it drew tens of thousands of people, didn't it? And it really puts West Wales on the map, you know.
Yes.
It's a wonderful event. But I just think it's the great British spirit, isn't it? And particularly the Welsh spirit, I suppose. People enjoy themselves, come whatever.
Want to get involved.
We just have to get on with it, don't we?
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you're used to coming from Wales, we can't really keep grumbling about the rain, can we? We do nothing but grumble. So also, moving on, of course, it is, we're all talking about Irma. It's in the Metro. Killer Irma lashes Florida.
This is terrible.
Terrible pictures there. In the Eye, we've got Irma tears up Florida, and more footage and information.
We've got a young cousin who's in Florida, I think, in Disney World, and her mum posted on Facebook at last she heard she's hiding in the closet.
Oh, no.
Very frightening.
It is, it's terrifying. Although you know, in your heart of hearts, you know people will be all right, but it's terribly worrying, isn't it?
The Financial Times also covers it. Florida suffers huge devastation as Hurricane Irma strikes us. And also the Daily Mail as well, torment of the Hurricane Brits.
It's frightening, and isn't it? Richard Branson has said that he thinks it's climate change. And of course, he runs an airline. I mean, we're all at fault, aren't we? You know, if it is climate change.
I think we have to keep trying to do more and more and more, don't we, to slow the process down. Talking about Richard Branson, his son Sam Branson, we've got some VT of him showing how he's helping, and we'll have a little look at that.
So I just finished a very long day of lots of phone calls, logistics and planning to get myself back out to the BVI, flying to Barbados tomorrow with a load of relief equipment and stuff that people need out there, packed up my own stuff, loads of food in here. We've got kids' clothing. I'm going to places tomorrow to pick up head torches and tarpaulins. Most people have lost their homes, so ways to keep them sheltered. In here I've got lots of sat phones, charging and extra charging blocks and solar powered chargers. Luckily all my expedition kits coming in really useful. Anyway, it's still so surreal. I'm not going to enjoy being out there, but I'm going to do the best I can to help the people on the ground. Keep an eye on ways that you can all help, but thanks so much for all your support.
Apart from the storm, it's interesting to see the same mannerisms as his father when he sort of stroking his chin, isn't it?
Yeah, I think even if you didn't know him, if you said which celebrity's son this is, you'd probably be able to guess.
Mannerisms as much as anything. But it's interesting, Richard Branson was teaching or videoing from the wine cellar, saying, I think we might have a little wine left when we emerge. Oh. It's probably stocked to the gunnels with everything for any sort of emergency, I would have thought.
Probably.
Yeah, a sort of bunker.
Yeah.
Although we have so much rain, at least we don't have extremes of weather conditions.
It's frightening. I've always hated when brought up at an isolated farm on the coast. You know, the whole house used to rattle. There's
something very eerie about it, isn't there?
Yes.
You know,
it's always dangerous.
And animals as well are quite sort of freaked out about, aren't they? Those sort of, you know, very, very windy days.
We were in Porthcawl yesterday with a little granddaughter, and the hanging baskets were really sort of, it's a bit disconcerting, isn't it?
Well, overnight the weather here was quite bad, wasn't it? But I can remember sort of thinking, gosh, it sounds horrendous out there, but knowing that it was nowhere near or even on the scale as what's happening out in
It's very, very
Florida.
frightening.
Also, we've got the Telegraph, who've got about the pay cap. Of course, it's been proposed that the public sector, at the moment, the pay is capped, but that will be removed. So hopefully that's looking that it'll happen, and that's a bit of good news.
Then, yes.
But also, that's the end of the papers today, so we're going to chat to Cath about her big news, what's happening tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
It is tomorrow night, yes, yeah. The Disabled Support Association, DSA, got an event for our DSA members at the Liberty, 6 o'clock. We've got Leon Britton coming along, Lee Trundle, Kev Johns, Cyril the Swan. It's for our members only, it is. I mean, people can join on the night. Membership's £5 for the year for adults, £2 for under-16s.
They can join your disabled association.
They can join the... What it is, we like people either to have a disability or have some links with disability or just support disabilities.
But it's connected with the Swans.
It's connected with the Swans.
What's the connection?
Right, what it is, the Club Disability Officer 4.5 years ago, anybody who had any queries about disabilities, they'd go to the chairman, the manager. There was no continuity, it was never just a one direct person. So the Club Disability Officer decided to set up the DSA so that we act as the link then between the supporters and the club. So anybody with any queries can come straight to us and we will send them in the right direction.
And is this to improve access of fans or what's the...
Well, everybody's entitled to go to a football match.
Yeah.
So I mean, people with disabilities, they're all entitled. They may need extra help to get to a football match. So if anybody can help in that way, just to get them in so they get the same enjoyment as the normal able-bodied fans, that's what it should be all about, just giving them the extra bit of help and support.
And you've done a lot for the families of disabled people as well, haven't you? Just to help everybody socially, as you say, get to the games.
We have, yeah. I mean, when we have these events, people say to us, oh, you're like one big family here. And I mean, if you get people jumping up, shouting out, it doesn't matter because they're there to enjoy. I mean, I've got 2 disabled children. And to me, they love the Swans. One can't come, but the other one does. Yes, we go into the ground an hour and a half before the game starts because it's the only way she can manage socially. But she's still there, she enjoys it, and everybody needs that help just to enjoy a football match.
Is that how you became involved, because of your own...
Well, I joined the trust originally, and then when the DSA was set up, I said, yeah, I'm more than happy to get involved with that. So, I mean, that's how I, and fair play, the events... We managed to get the children to come to. We range in events from 2 years old up to 90-year-olds.
Oh, how lovely.
And everybody mixes and matches together.
It's so nice that the players get involved. We had Leon Britton in on the show a couple of months ago now. And I can just imagine him taking part. Really,
He does a lot for charity, doesn't he?
He does now,
Lovely
yes,
guy.
Yeah. I mean, we get different players each event we have. And as it is, the luck tomorrow is Leon Britton coming in. So, I mean, supporters are over the moon to see him.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that they're...
And you've been a supporter for a long time, haven't you?
32 years. Yes, back in the old 80s, yes.
What about you, Keith?
Well, I always like to see Swansea football doing well. And although I'm not a big sports fan, each time they've gone into the First Division, I've been there in the crowd cheering as well, because I think it's something for the city to be proud of.
Oh, yes, we're all proud of it.
Definitely.
But about tomorrow night, I think we've got a poster where we can actually see what's happening tomorrow night. There we are, the DSA social event. And it's at the Liberty Stadium and it's at 6 o'clock. Do you have to have tickets or can you...
No, just turn up at the time.
Just turn up if you're a member.
If you're a member, or you can actually come and join on the night.
Oh, lovely. And so what are you going to be doing? What's going to be happening?
We've got refreshments, which Fair Play the Club have paid for to support us. We've got Q&A at the front, which hopefully Leon and Cyril will be up there as well. Kev Johns will be the MC. And we've got just chance the supporters to go up and mingle with them, take photos with them.
Oh,
but I mean, we're proud. We do it in Welsh, English, we can use sign language, we use words and pictures. So we try and cater for all types of disabilities.
For everybody.
Yeah.
And it's a night that people will remember. It's not just youngsters, is it? But a night that people will remember.
They will remember, yes. And like I say, the most we've had is 90 members. But it's still in a big room, plenty of people there. People just get on and mix together.
And how often do you have these events?
3 a year.
3 a year? It takes some organising.
It does take organising, but we enjoy doing it. We're a good committee together. And for the fans and the disabled members, it's worth it.
I think it's life-enhancing for everyone, isn't it? And nice to all get together. And I'm sure the players enjoy it.
They do. I mean, last time we had Tom Carroll, who was new in, a young boy, and he was quite nervy at the start. We said, don't panic, just relax, enjoy. And when you got a little girl asking him, why haven't we got jam sandwiches? At the end, he said, I enjoyed
Hope
it.
tomorrow goes really well.
Jam
We'll be back after the break with Dafydd Morris of Cheers Wine Merchants for a tasting.
Cheers to that.
Sorry, I hope that was okay.
back to Today on Bay TV. I'm Dana Morgan and this is Rachel Hopkins. Keith Milward is with us and we've been joined by Dafydd Morris of Cheers Wine Merchants. So
I think we've all been looking forward to this part of the show.
I was wondering how to put it, Rachel.
That's good
So
to hear.
Dafydd, what have you got for us today?
So today we're going to talk about wines from Bordeaux in France. So I don't know how much you know about Bordeaux, but it's a very nice city, sort of halfway down the west coast of France. Yeah, stunning place to go on holiday. I've just come back. We were slightly coastal side of Bordeaux, so I mean that's the advantage of Bordeaux. Within an hour you can be on the beach, and obviously you're surrounded by many fantastic vineyards.
You were on holiday.
Yes.
But you decided to sort of do a little bit of work.
We always do a little bit.
While you were there.
It's not the worst thing to be doing, is it?
No.
Really?
You must love your job.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we did taste some very nice wines, but I've brought us today a selection of wines that we actually stock and have done for a while. The red we actually ship direct from the winery, and this we're going to talk about a little bit about how people buy wine from Bordeaux today. The white comes through a UK importer, but we've dealt with them for years. And yeah, it's just, I mean, Bordeaux is a huge region. It sort of took me by surprise on how big it is. There's over 7,000 chateaux in the wine. Yeah, 7,000 chateaux in the winemaking region of Bordeaux. So when people say they know Bordeaux, it's they know a lot, because it is an absolutely immense wine producing region.
That's incredible. I think that's more than the number of dairy farmers left in Wales.
It's incredible, honestly. And, you know, over quite a small space on the map, they're pretty jam-packed. And obviously some of them are world famous.
So when you drive out of the airport, I mean, that's all you see,
You see it from the word go, yeah. It's great. I mean, it's a beautiful part of the world. So today we're going to start with a white wine from a chateau called Chateau Couronneau. They're based slightly inland from Bordeaux, so opposite to where I went on holiday. Their sort of classification is Bordeaux Superior, which is just like a wider classification.
I'm not grabbing the bottle.
No, that's right. I'll give you a straw.
I always love the labels.
It's a very traditional label. With picture of the chateau, which is a beautiful castle, which they restored, the latest family, to live there. They're biodynamic and organic.
Yeah, I was going to say it's organic, yeah.
Which a lot of people are looking for these days, because it's sustainable viticulture in many essences.
It must be that gives me the headache, if it's not organic.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah. Some people swear by it. So this is actually, it's the aromas. So, yes, so first thing to do is smell the wine, swirl it around so you get a bit of air in it, oxygenating the wine, give it a whiff. Quite citric aromas. Beautiful. This is a blend of two grape varieties. One called Sauvignon Blanc, which a lot of people know. The other one's called Sauvignon Gris, which is a very much lesser known grape variety. Basically the grey version of the white Sauvignon. But it gives it a bit of structure, which you'll taste more than anything. The Sauvignon Blanc is what gives it the aromas, which you can smell. And then on tasting, you get more of the citrus fruit, but you also get a bit of sort of tropical fruit, maybe sort of apricots, slightly sweeter fruit.
And do you train to pick up all those sort of flavours?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Some people are great at it. They can instantly. I tell you who's really good at it are children, although you shouldn't let them taste. But when they smell wine, they can instantly pick up aromas. It's incredible. My nephew was amazing at it. I mean, he's getting old now, so he's.
And what meals would you recommend? Does this go with fish, chicken?
Definitely an aperitif, because it's so clean and it's nice acidity to it. Or white. Fish, shellfish, things like that, really clean, because it's got really good acidity. When you taste it,
cleans the palate.
The acidity is sort of the overriding finish on it, which cuts through things.
Sweet, and then there's some bitterness, and then it's the sweetness comes back.
Although the wine is dry in terms of how much sugar's in it, the fruit is very sweet. So, I mean, Bordeaux makes a range of wines from very sweet whites, things like Sauterne, which are very world famous, very expensive sweet wines, dry white wine. And then dry red wine is their predominant, sort of 70% of production. And and there's some other weird and wonderful varieties. But mainly, Bordeaux are known for red wines, but they do make some really good.
Yes, I don't connect Bordeaux with white wine.
A lot of people don't, yeah.
So when you're on holiday, do you go around these wineries?
I didn't this time, because we were sort of coastal.
So you're not looking for new wines?
No, I didn't this week, no. I just went and tasted a few different things. We were there to surf, but the surf wasn't that great, so I did more drinking than surfing.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Well, they have huge waves, don't they, down there?
Yeah, they can do, yeah. Well, the Atlantic coast is renowned, yeah. It's fantastic.
Not the surfing's my thing. So, and this is an obvious question, what's the difference between red and white wine?
The grape, the starting grape. Yeah. It's as simple as that. I mean, some grapes grow and they have black skins. If you press the juice of a black grape, it runs clear. So you could theoretically make white wine out of a black grape.
So it's nothing to do with leaving the skins on? Or...
Well, no, this is where you get the colour. You leave the juice in contact with the skins, and it basically extracts the colour from the skins of the grapes to produce red wines. You can make rosé from black grapes. Black grapes are used in the production of champagne.
Oh, right, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So, and they all taste quite different, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Considering they all come from the grape, don't they?
Yeah.
But, you know, that slight difference.
I mean, winemaking techniques are incredible these days. Even compared to when I started 20 years ago, they've changed already.
How have they changed?
Well, they're much more almost scientific, but yeah, a lot of cleanliness is the biggest thing.
Well, yeah.
I remember going to wineries when I was first starting in some places.
They were shredding them with their feet,
yeah, well, they still do that, but slightly more hygienically, I was doing that in South Africa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's a good way of pressing grapes because you don't apply too much pressure.
Yeah.
Obviously, a human can only get to a certain weight and pressure. So, it's slightly more...
Does it stain your feet?
Yeah.
I
have to get the hose out
when
afterwards.
I drink wine, I really don't like to think that perhaps it's been crushed by people's feet at some point.
No, it's fine. You wouldn't taste it. That's
no.
I think I've missed my vocation. Anyway,
should we try the red?
Popular at dinner parties and the like.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I just bore people to death. But
oh no, it's
but I mean,
it's a
taking the
fascinating
wine.
subject, isn't it?
I always try and take a nice bottle of wine. If I can't turn up with a nice bottle of wine, then we're in trouble.
I am very much a red wine man, but that white was rather lovely.
It's very good. Yeah, it's $10.99 I think in Cheers. So, it's not mega cheap, but it's a real nice wine. Great with food.
There's a good price for a bottle of wine that.
Well, I read the other day...
They can go to extortionate prices, can't they?
We've talked about the taxes before, but I read the other day that in a £5 bottle of wine, you've only got 40 pence worth of wine.
Yes.
Now, does that mean you're drinking fewer units?
No. It means you're drinking a lot worse quality wine. It's still the same amount of wine, but only 41%, only 41p has gone into making that wine.
So that's extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, to be honest, the £5 wine market shouldn't really exist anymore. It's very, very hard to find wines of quality at £5.
So these are they both $10.99?
I think the red's slightly cheaper. It's $9.99.
So what's the price of the wine in it?
Well, basically, so out of that £5 bottle, the duty is the big, which is fixed at £2.60.
You've got more wine. You buy more wine with the $9.99.
Yeah, so there's about £4.5 worth of wine in that bottle.
Really?
Yeah. So it's exponentially more the higher you buy.
It's not pro rata.
No.
That's...
Which is why we always encourage people to buy slightly better. I know there's a budget for everyone.
Well armed now for my arguments from my nearest and dearest.
It should be quality, not quantity in art.
Yes, that's interesting.
And when I've bought wine in the past, I really don't know what I'm looking for. I mean, the great thing about coming to somebody like you is I could come in knowing nothing and buy a lovely wine as a gift, or if I was going to a party.
Well, that's what we hope anyway. And I would be devastated if you didn't walk away with something that was, either to your taste or
I think we should talk about this wine, shouldn't we? No, no pretty picture on it. Chateau Charon.
Chateau Charon. This is a chateau that we buy direct from. So Bordeaux have got various different ways of buying wine. Some of them are very traditional, which these guys are, and you can literally go to the cellar door and say, knock on the door.
I love doing that.
I want to buy 10 cases of your wine, bring it back. Obviously, you still have to go through the proper channels, but. Rather than most people using UK importers these days from Chile, Argentina and places like that, you can still go to the chateau and buy wine to get it here and sell it to the customer, which is what we do with this wine. They do two reds. This is their slightly higher level red. Again, a blend of two grapes. In Bordeaux, predominantly all the wines they produce are a blend. Right. There's very few single variety wines made in Bordeaux. So even the finest Bordeaux's in the world, £300-400, they're almost always a blend of at least two grape varieties.
All right.
This is a blend of Merlot, which is 80% Merlot and 20% Cabernet Sauvignon.
Is it the same thing? Do you...
I haven't got your glass, Richard.
Do you have to get the...
I want to force feed you to drink.
My sister's a huge fan, of wine, full stop, really. But she does love red wine, and she puts it on the radiator, a warm radiator. It's a bad thing, is it? I'll have to tell her.
People cook the wine, yeah.
Is it true that red should be at sort of ambient temperature, and the white should be in
white should be chilled, definitely. I mean, the warmer the wine gets, the more flavour you'll get out of it, but it gets to a point where it's probably out of balance. Whereas red should be what we call room temperature, but not 20 degrees, maybe more like 16, 17.
It's the same thing.
So smell this, again, the smell of this wine is beautiful, really floral, bright red
I like
fruit,
red wine.
it's gorgeous. And that comes
like
from Merlot. Merlot gives you that real sort of flowery nose. And the Cabernet Sauvignon gives you the depth and the structure and a bit of body. So when you taste it, you'll...
Well, on that note, we will be back after the break. So thanks for joining us. And Keith will be talking about movies after the break. So
see you then.
Welcome back to Today on Bay TV. I'm Gaynor Morgan and this is Rachel Hopkins. And we're joined by our resident showbiz correspondent, Keith Milward. Thank you.
Hello, Keith. Lovely to see you again this week. And you've had a wonderful weekend, haven't you?
I've had an amazing weekend. I've been to London to see the production of Follies at the National Theatre. Now, I've been waiting all year for this, and Follies is a very special piece to me because I was very fortunate to direct Follies at the Palace Theatre in High Street, Swansea, 15 years ago. And that venue was so ideal for it because it's about a reunion of Follies girls, a bit like the Ziegfeld Follies or like the Tiller girls we'd know in this country. And the reunion is because the theatre's to be knocked down the next day.
Oh, so it's quite poignant, really.
So it is very poignant because in the National Theatre, they've thrown so much money at it. They've got the best of entertainers from London playing the parts. But I've got well, I was so fortunate with my cast in Swansea, and I have brought some film. I don't know if that could be shown.
Oh, yes, let's look at it now.
This is when we did it in Swansea.
When you're on that stage, it seems as if the whole auditorium is so intimate. You know, it's almost as if when you're performing there, it's as if the theatre's embracing you. You know, it's a beautiful feeling. I said, imagine there was a day when this was just being opened. It was pristine. It must have been pristine. All the debris that we see now was once brand new. Yeah. Well, in its heyday, the Palace had such famous acts. The best of music hall entertainment. Vesta Tilley, Dan Leno, Charlie Chaplin. They all graced that stage. And it's also important to realise that it was the first venue where Sir Anthony Hopkins first did professional theatre work. It's obvious that people love the Palace. We've got it. It's still there. Should it go? Once it's gone, it's gone. We should treasure our old buildings. You know, we've still got the Palace. We've still got to fight for it. We've still got to keep that building. So if it could be made into a theatre, it'd be wonderful. But not for it to demolish, not for it to decay anymore. You know, something has to be done.
And there's still no decision, is there?
No. It's
ongoing saga.
Yes, it's sad to see that it's still in decay, you know. But so just ideal for us to do it there 15 years ago. But of course, it's in London now, and there's some images as well that I've brought along for you to see the London production. And it stars our own. Oh yes, that's the one of the ghosts of the Follies girls, because the ghosts are there, of how the performers were 30 years previously, as well as, so it's set in 1971, but it's looking back 30 years to when the girls were in their heyday. And
so did you get that impression of the girl?
Oh yes, well it was lovely in the Palace Theatre. Of course, it was lovely in Swansea, but in London now they've thrown so much money at it. But they've got Imelda Staunton, Janie Dee, and Tracy Bennett, and our own Di Boccia, who we know from the TV series Stella, plays Auntie Brenda. She gives this is the full cast, but there is leading to a photograph of Di Boccia as the character that she's playing, Hattie. Oh, that's some other guy. Yeah, there she is. That's Di Boccia. Yes, and then she gets up to sing and belt out Broadway Baby. So it's going to be shown in the National Theatre Live in the cinema screening, so we'll all be able to see that in November.
Do you manage to just sit and enjoy, or have you still got your kind of work eye on?
Well, they played it without an interval for 2.25 hours. Right. So, you know, I was riveted for the whole time, absolutely. But there's so much theatre to talk about. Because Dreamboats and Petticoats is in the Grand Theatre this week, all week. There's matinees on Wednesday and Saturday, as well as evening performances throughout the week. And, of course, all the popular songs like Let's Twist Again, Let's
I
Dance,
love that era
Happy
of
Birthday,
music.
Sweet 16, wonderful era,
Yeah.
the 50s and 60s.
I know that's you can really sing along to it, can't you? Because you can't always sing along to all music, can you? But I think even if you haven't got the best voice, that kind of music lends itself, or even the best dancer, you can still
Indeed.
move and sing to that kind of music.
Indeed, and there is a story around these songs that we know, and it's a spin-off of the popular albums that have come out, the CDs and albums downloadable, of Dream Boats and Petticoats. In Cardiff this week, it's the Wipers Times.
Oh, I've heard so much about that.
Yes. It's the
First World War.
Yes, the satirical newspaper that came out of the Somme, actually, and it was Ypres, and they couldn't pronounce Ypres, so they said Wipers Times, and the newspaper was published for 2 years, but to brighten the spirits.
Satirical, wasn't it?
Yes,
and
yes.
It's amazing how they could have fun and be so creative and bring in this satire. And
yes, it just shows really
It's a strength of human
the
character,
resilience
isn't it?
of the human spirit against adversity.
Yes.
Isn't it? That's what it's saying. And in Pontedower on Friday night, there's a magic show. It's the Morgan and West time-travelling magicians, and they have been featured in ITV's The Next Greatest Magician. So that's the 15th in the Pontedower Arts Centre. Baffling magic mystery, and unexplainable things.
They're so popular now, aren't they?
Oh yes, extremely popular magic.
it's a magic school, isn't it?
I've got to be honest, when I see some of the things they do, I sit there, I really want to work it out, but there's no way. They're so good, aren't they? They're so good.
And then when it comes to talking pictures, there's Lauren Hardy season. It's been shown over the weekends, but it's now being shown during the week. And even this afternoon, we've got Way Out West, 1937 film, Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy, and they are so funny. And
just the thought of them makes you smile. Like we were talking about Fatty Arbuckle earlier.
Indeed, yes.
It's just the thought of these people, isn't it? So it just makes you smile.
Yes,
and feel
timeless entertainment, but it's being introduced now to a new generation again.
Of course,
through talking pictures.
What's your favourite?
And the way they acted their comedy as well was so. I can't think of the word, but it sort of really helps other actors.
Yes.
It sort of paved the way, didn't it?
Yes, I suppose.
Have you got a favourite?
I love them doing the Trail of the Lonesome Pine, especially when he knocks him over the head at the end and he sings soprano. That's my favourite. But there's so many. There's tomorrow afternoon. There's another Lauren Hardy film, which is Pack Up Your Troubles. But this weekend, there's some great musicals on. Cliff Richard and Susan Hampshire in Wonderful Life. That's showing on Sunday, 12:40. That's 1964 musical. And then in the evening on Sunday, it's Bloodhounds of Broadway, the 1952 film. And that's starring Mitzi Gaynor.
Well, a sort of age of innocence, wasn't it?
Oh, indeed, yes. It's a different time to today, and I think it's nice for us to be able to have these films to take us out of our world and with all the troubles and the obvious things that are going
They're so
on.
classic, aren't they? And so timeless, as you say. They were popular when they were made, and still shown these days, and have so many followers.
Yes, and it can be enjoyed by the whole family.
I think the amazing thing is with the silent movies, because we have so much technology nowadays, don't we? We've got everything at our disposal, and the way they make these films and all the rest of it. And still, these timeless classics of Lauren Hardy, for example.
I just don't know how they did it, because without all the technology, and they would do their own stunts, and how they lived through some of the stunts. You'll be able
before health and safety, wasn't it?
Oh yes, it would never be allowed these days. But no, it's. I remember my grandfather was a great lover of Lauren and Hardy in particular. I love the Keystone Cops Pops as well when I was a boy, and you know, again, just the thought of them, you know, they make us smile, you know. So there's so much entertainment, not only in the theatres, but aren't we lucky, you know, with the television, so many channels, but the best of entertainment, of course, on
and
Bay
we need
TV
lots of reasons to laugh, don't we?
Yes.
Thank you, Keith, as ever, a delight. So, Keith, thanks for joining us. Next on Bay TV, we have our afternoon matinee. Today, it's a 1937 comedy, Way Out West. Lauren Hardy.
Bye.